I locked that door 17 times tonight, and it keeps opening. Not broken, not forced, just open, like someone is leaving or entering. My name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I'm recording this because I need someone to know, before I forget who I was, before this night ends. I work as a night security guard at St. Helena Municipal Cemetery. 4 years now. 4 years watching over the dead. 4 years walking alone among tombstones under moonlight. People think it's easy work. They say, what could happen? The dead don't move. And I used to laugh at that joke. Used to. My shift starts at 10 p.m. Always starts the same way. I check the main gate. Lock it. Check the south perimeter fence. Nothing abnormal. Check the old chapel. Empty. And then I check the Valdez Mausoleum. I always save it for last. Not because it's the farthest away, but because something about it makes me want to delay. The Valdez Mausoleum was built in 1887. White marble that was once imposing. Today it's stained by time, moss growing in the cracks, stone angels flanking the entrance, angels with faces corroded by acid rain, like they're crying. The door is solid iron, 2 tons of black metal. It has a thick chain that I secure with a padlock every night. Standard procedure, nothing more. But 3 weeks ago, something. Changed. I was doing my 3 a.m. round, the quietest hour of the night, when even the crickets seemed to sleep, and I saw the door of the Valdez Mausoleum open. Not much, just a crack, maybe 6 inches, enough for a thin person to slip through. I thought it was vandalism, bored teenagers, drug users looking for a place to get high. It happens. I approached with my flashlight. The chain was on the ground, intact, not cut, not broken, simply loose, like the padlock had opened by itself. I pushed the door. It groaned, a deep metallic sound that echoed through the entire cemetery. Inside, the air was different, colder, not the cold of night, but the cold you feel when you open a refrigerator. Artificial, dead. The crypts were all closed, nothing out of place, no sign of invasion. I closed the door, secured the chain again, checked twice, and left. But the next morning, when the day shift arrived, they called me. The door of the Valdez Mausoleum is open. I rushed back, and there it was. Open, the chain on the ground, intact. I didn't sleep well that day. I kept thinking about how this was possible. Did someone have a key? But the padlock had no marks. Was someone playing a trick on me? But I was the only one with access to the cemetery at night. That night I returned to work determined to solve this. I changed the padlock, bought a new one, with a unique key, secured the door tight enough for the chain to creak, and I waited. I sat in my car, with a direct view of the mausoleum, for hours, 3 hours, 4, nothing moved. At 5 in the morning I gave up. I approached to check, and the door was open again. It was on the 6th night that I heard it. I was doing my 2 a.m. round. The cemetery was under a dense fog. That kind of mist that swallows flashlight beams, that makes you feel like you're underwater. I was 50 meters from the mausoleum when I stopped, because I heard something. A voice. No, it wasn't exactly a voice, it was a whisper, like someone was talking very close to a wall, and the sound was coming through the stone, muffled, distorted, but definitely zagged words. I turned on my flashlight and ran. The door was open, more than before, maybe half a meter, enough to see the darkness inside, a darkness that seemed more solid than it should be. I called out, "Is anyone there?" The whispering stopped. Absolute silence. I went in. The flashlight cut through the cold air like it was matter. The crypts were closed, all of them, 6 on each. Side, ancient marble with names carved in Gothic letters. Valdez, Valdez, Valdez. An entire family buried there. In the back, there was a staircase, descending, to a lower level I had never noticed before, or perhaps didn't want to notice. I approached the stairs, pointed my flashlight down, just stone, steps worn by time and darkness. That's when I felt it. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. I felt it. Like someone was behind me, not touching, but close enough to feel the warmth, or the lack of it. I turned quickly, nothing, just the crypts, just the silence. But the air had changed, it was denser, like something had just moved. I ran out. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I left that mausoleum like it was on fire. I locked the door, 3 turns of the key, and went straight to my car. I spent the rest of the night there, with the doors locked, watching. The door didn't open until dawn, but when the sun rose, there it was, open. I started researching, during the day when I should have been sleeping. I searched the internet about the Valdez Mausoleum, about the family. I discovered that the Valdez family owned half the city in the 1800s. They were rich, powerful, and extremely religious. Devout Catholics who built the mausoleum to ensure their souls would rest together, forever. The patriarch, Don Alejandro Valdez, died in 1893. His wife, Doña Carmela, 3 years later. Then came the children, the grandchildren, all buried there, but there was a story I found on an obscure blog about urban legends in the region. The last person to be buried in the mausoleum was Elena Valdez in 1947. She was 19 years old, and according to legend, she didn't want to be there. Records said that Elena had converted to Protestantism. She had fallen in love with an American during World War II. She wanted to leave the city, start a new life, but the family didn't allow it. They locked her in the house, said she was sick. Possessed, and 3 months later, Elena was dead. Suicide, they said, poison. But the blog suggested something else. It suggested that the family killed her to protect their honor, to keep her with them forever, and that Elena was buried against her will. In the mausoleum she hated, with the family that imprisoned her. I didn't believe the story. Of course not. They were just urban legends, stories invented to scare tourists. But that night, when I returned to work, something had changed in me. I was afraid. Real fear. The kind that makes your palms sweat, that makes your heart beat faster for no reason. I did my rounds avoiding the mausoleum. I took unnecessary detours, checked areas that didn't need checking, but eventually I had to go. It was my job. The door was closed. For the first time in weeks, it was closed when I arrived. I felt a stupid relief. I checked the chain, firm. I touched the cold metal, and that's when I heard my name. It wasn't loud, it was whispered, but it was my name, clear as crystal, coming from inside the mausoleum. I froze. My flashlight trembled in my hand. I heard it again, more urgent this time, like someone was calling me for help. My voice came out strangled. "Who's there?" Silence. Then, knocking. 3 knocks, spaced out, slow, deliberate, coming from the door, from inside. I took a step back. Another. The knocking continued, louder, more insistent. And then, the door began to open. Slowly, inch by inch, the chain was coming loose. Not breaking, just loosening, like invisible hands were opening the padlock. I ran. I didn't look back. I ran through the cemetery like a coward. I stumbled over tombstones, fell once, got up and kept running. To my car. I got in, locked the doors, and stayed there, breathing hard, sweating despite the cold. I grabbed my phone to call the police. But what would I say? That a door opens by itself? That I heard my name? That I'm afraid of an empty cemetery? They would think I was crazy. Or drunk, or on drugs. So I stayed there, waiting. Dawn took forever. When the sun finally began to brighten the horizon, I got out of the car, slowly. I looked at the mausoleum in the distance. The door was closed, completely closed, the chain in place, like nothing had happened. I got home that morning and couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard my name. Every time sleep came close, I saw that door opening. I called work, said I was sick, needed a night off, just one, to regain my sanity. But the next night, when I should have been resting, I got a call. It was the substitute security guard, a guy named Marco who did extra shifts when needed. He was screaming, almost incoherent. "There's someone here, in the mausoleum. I saw her. She's looking at me." The call dropped. I tried calling back. Nothing. Straight to voicemail. I grabbed my car, drove to the cemetery at dangerous speed. The gates were open. Marco's car was there, lights still on, driver's door open, but Marco was nowhere. I called for him, my voice echoed through the empty cemetery. No answer. I grabbed my flashlight and went straight to the mausoleum. The door was wide open, completely open, the chain on the ground. Broken, not cut. Broken. Like something with superhuman strength had simply ripped it. I went in. "Marco?" My voice sounded small in there, swallowed by the cold, by the darkness. I pointed my flashlight at the crypts, all closed, except one. The last one on the right, the lid was displaced, pushed from inside. I approached slowly, so slowly that each step seemed like an eternity. The crypt had a name engraved, Elena Valdez, 1928 to 1947. I looked inside, empty, no coffin, no mortal remains, just dust. And something else, a chain, thick, rusted, with shackles at the ends. She had been chained. Elena had been chained inside her own crypt, and somehow she had gotten out. I heard a sound behind me. I turned. Marco was there, standing at the entrance of the mausoleum, but something was wrong. He wasn't moving right. His movements were stiff, like a puppet, and his eyes were empty. "Marco?" He didn't respond, just stood there, staring. Then he started walking, toward me, slow, deliberate. I ran past him. He didn't try to grab me, just let me. I left the mausoleum, and that's when I saw her. A figure standing among the tombstones, a woman, dirty white dress, long dark hair, pale face. She was looking at me directly, and she smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had waited a long time, of someone who was finally free. I ran to my car, got in, started it, and looked in the rearview mirror. She was there, standing next to Marco's car, still watching me, still smiling. I hit the accelerator. The wheels spun on the gravel, and I got out of there. I didn't stop until I got home, locked all the doors, all the windows, and finally, I could breathe. But it was an illusion, because when I looked out my living room window, she was there, across the street, standing under a streetlight, watching me. I called the police, told them everything. They went to the cemetery, found Marco's car. But they didn't find Marco. The mausoleum door was closed, the chain intact, no sign of invasion, no sign of struggle. They said Marco probably abandoned his post, that he had a history of psychological problems, that I was stressed, that I should take a few days. Off, but I know what I saw, I know what I heard. Marco disappeared and Elena Valdez is free. That was 6 days ago. I haven't returned to work, I don't leave the house, but every night at 3 in the morning I hear it. Knocking on my door, 3 knocks, slow, deliberate. And when I look through the peephole, she's there. Elena, waiting. Sometimes she smiles, sometimes she just stares, but she's always there. I tried to move, packed my bags, left the house at 11 in the morning. Broad. Daylight. Safe. But when I got to the car, she was in the back seat. She didn't say anything, just looked at me. And I understood. She doesn't want to hurt me. She wants me to know, to understand what it's like to be trapped, what it's like to want freedom and not be able to have it, what it's like to scream and have no one hear. The mausoleum doesn't close because she doesn't want to be there anymore. The door opens because she refuses to stay trapped. And now I think she wants company. Because every night the distance between us shrinks. On the first night she was across the street. On the second she was in my yard. On the third she was on my porch. Last night she was outside my window. Tonight I didn't lock the door. If you're hearing this, it's because the recording was sent automatically. I programmed it to be, in case I couldn't do it manually. I don't know what will happen when she comes in. I don't know if I'll disappear like Marco. I don't know if I'll... join her. I don't know if I'll become another guardian, another watcher of the dead who never rest, but I need you to know, to understand. There are places in this world that don't obey our rules. There are doors that refuse to stay closed. There are dead who don't accept staying dead. And there are prisoners who, even after decades, still fight to be free. Elena Valdez was buried against her will, chained, silenced, forgotten. But she didn't forget. And now that she's free, she won't stop. Did you? Valdez Mausoleum will keep opening every night at 3 in the morning, and more people will disappear unless someone does something, unless someone truly frees her, not just physically, but from the hatred, from the resentment, from the prison they built around her soul. I'm not that person. I'm not brave enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm just a security guard, just someone who watches over the dead. And now I'm going to become one of them. I hear the knocking. 3. Slow. The doorknob is turning, the door is opening, and she's coming in. Elena is here and she's smiling. Not with happiness, but with relief. Like finally she found someone who understands, someone who knows what it's like to be trapped, someone who can hear her story. So I'll let the recording continue. I'll let you hear what happens when the dead refuse to stay dead. What happens when you work watching restless souls. What happens when you become part of the story you should only be observing. If you work as a security guard, if you watch over places where the dead rest, be careful. Pay attention to doors that open by themselves, to names you hear in silence, to shadows that move when they shouldn't. Because maybe, just maybe, they're not as dead as you think. And maybe, just maybe, they're waiting for you. Just like Elena waited for me. The recording continues, but I don't know how much longer I'll still be here. I don't know if I'll finish this sentence. I don't know if interference, static, silence, 3 knocks, slow, deliberate, And then, nothing. This is only the first recording. There are others, from other guards, from other shifts, from other nights at St. Helena Municipal Cemetery. Recordings that haven't been revealed yet. Confessions that haven't been heard yet. If you want to know what else happens during the midnight shifts, if you want to hear the other voices, if you want to understand what really happens when the dead refuse to rest, stay here, subscribe, because this story is just beginning, and you're already part of it. End of recording.